Hello farmers and welcome to the harvest season. My name is Al.
And my name is Rochelle.
And we're here to talk about farming games.
Woo!
Today we have a very exciting main topic for you. We got the incredible chance to sit down and talk to none other than Sean, who is the developer of Littlewood, last week. And had a nice chat with him about the game.
Yeah, when I let you explain things, you explain them so formally.
Sorry.
No, it's not a sorry thing. I was just like, wow. I don't know if I would words that.
Okay, we've got an interview with Sean about Littlewood.
Yeah, got a Sean interview with. It's gonna be great.
I'm not cutting that from the episode, by the way.
Okay, I accept my fate.
So we'll have that for you later on in the episode. First of all, we will have news, and it was very funny. I was looking at the show notes before we started recording, and there was nothing in the show notes, and I thought there was no news. It turns out I just forgot to put things in. So now there's a lot of news.
Everyone loves news.
But before we get into that, Rochelle, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I've been playing Rune Factory 4 Special. I've been playing... I have been... Okay, so I've reset a Pokemon game like 5 times.
Which one?
Currently, Pokemon Moon.
You can't get enough of that Alola, can you?
No, I literally cannot. I am writing a fan fiction. It's turning into like a full-fledged novel. I'm deeply obsessed with Alola. It's kind of my favorite region. This has not changed. My levels of excitement for Alola are the same as they were when it was released in 2016. Like, I understand that everyone's very excited about Galar. Oh, I had to really make myself say it that way. I understand that everyone's very excited about Galar, but also I'm still stuck in Alola. I can't leave. This is just my favorite region. Sorry. Not sorry. Absolutely not sorry. Al, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing?
Oh, that sounds excited.
I have been... let's start with the interesting thing. I decided that I really wanted a save file for every single Pokemon game, and I don't have them all, so I'm replaying some Pokemon games to make sure I have a completed save file. By completed, I mean at least beating the Elite Four, probably having completed the Pokedex. I'm not going to have a living dex in each one.
But that's a good goal. That's a good goal. Like, if you ever need to go back to a game, you're high enough level to do anything you need to do, but you haven't done everything, so you can still do things.
Yeah. So I've been doing that. So I started up Emerald. For some reason, Emerald was the one that I decided to start with. Let's not ask why, because I don't know. So I've been doing that. I've gone back into Sword and Shield and caught the Gengar and Machamp Gigantamax forms.
Nice.
I got them both on the first try, which was nice. Didn't have to spend too much time doing that.
That's fantastic.
Did some more shiny hunting, although not very much. Because much of my time has been set playing Rune Factory 4 Special, which is something.
Yeah? Were you expecting it to be this, like, JRPG?
Look, I honestly had no idea what I was expecting, right? Because... Rochelle, you'll know that I have issues with genres.
Yeah?
We've talked about this before. I think that genres are a really bad way of trying to describe what games are, because different people have different opinions about what plops in where, and it really frustrates me. So I never actually knew what people mean by JRPG, right? So yeah, I don't really know what I was expecting. I don't think I've ever really played a JRPG before. I think this answers my question as to whether Pokemon's a JRPG. No. It's... Boy, I mean, there's a lot to talk about, which we will do in a future episode, but I have thoughts. I have thoughts. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about them, or do you want to save them for later?
I think I'll save most of it for later. But I think at this point, I would say I think you start up the game, and you immediately are presented with not a question, but a choice of responses to the fact that you're in the air. And one of these is excitement towards being in the air, and one is not even scaredness, nothing like that. Literally, just like we're high up, right? Just a factual response. And selecting selecting one of these responses defines your gender in game, and wow, it's almost like I don't know.
I mean, it's bad. But so is
yeah.
Animal Crossing saying your name is cute or cool.
Yeah, sure. But that's much more kind of subtle and hidden, whereas this is very much in your face, and you're suddenly like, oh, so that's what you were meaning by that question. Not even a question. It's not even a question. What sort of a way is that? What I mean, we've talked about the fact that like actually selecting this binary choice of what a gender is in a game is an odd thing anyway, when realistically all you care about is how your character looks, right? But to do it in this such obscure way without any explanation until you've selected one. Now, granted, you can go back and choose the other one, but that almost feels like there's something about that makes it feel like you're cheating again. It's like, oh, well, I chose the wrong answer. Let me go back and choose the other one, right? And it's like, it's just so weird.
I mean, it is a very weird way. The way it should be is that you just pick your character and then you just tell them what pronouns to tell you, in my humble opinion. But I personally don't think it's any more weird than, say, Animal Crossing or any other thing that makes you do it. And I think also partially it's perspective, because my perspective is if I answer one and they're wrong, it's not that I'm wrong, it's that they're wrong.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that if they were to change the wording of the question and actually just say, "Do you want to be a man or a woman?" that somehow that would be great, right? We've had this conversation before, right? People know where we stand on this issue, but it's just how they managed to take this weird thing and make it even weirder. I don't understand what the thought process about this was, right? Are they somehow trying to, I don't understand. It's almost like they're trying to remove the question while still having the question.
What they're trying to do is tie it into a sense of character, personally.
Very specific and outdated model of thinking.
No, okay. I mean, yes. No, but what they're trying to do is tie it into a very specific character, because I don't know if you've noticed this so far, but more so than, I would say pretty much on par with Doraemon's Story of Seasons, you're not playing a generic character that is you are playing a very specific character with a very specific personality and history. And they're trying to tie it into that, I think. And I'm not saying they did it well, and I'm not saying it plays well, but I think that's probably what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm coming across sounding like I don't mind this. I think it's stupid.
And it's not only that, but this is the first thing you do in the game, right? It's like, oh, this cool cold open. Here we are. We're flying in the air, and here pops up this seemingly innocuous choice of response to nobody. Yeah, it's just
what thought is going through your head.
Yeah.
I think I don't like this, but I also am not super deeply offended. This to me is 100% on par with riding the train in Animal Crossing and being asked if your name is cool or cute. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's right on par for me with Professor Oak asking if I'm a boy or a girl. So. Yeah.
I guess I think the reason why, so particularly to compare it to the Pokemon one, it's not making, now of course it does create the binary concept of gender, obviously. However, that aside, which is an issue in and of itself, but that aside, it doesn't put any specific personality traits or assumptions on top of what that would then mean, right? Whereas this one is very specifically saying this is the way that men are and this is the way that women are. So it feels worse to me in that way.
I see what you're saying, but I literally do not consider that to be any more different than that name is cool or that name is cute, because that's also attaching value to it.
Yes, no, I agree with that. Absolutely. Yeah, that I wasn't comparing it to the Animal Crossing one. I was comparing it to the Pokemon one specifically. Because that one's also bad.
Yes, but it's all bad.
it's different. It's differing levels of badness, though. I think is my point. Anyway,
but there's a different focus very much. I'm just gonna remind you that this game was released in 2012, and this is part of the original games. So that's probably part of why it feels a little dated, is because it's like almost a 10-year-old game. So it's nicely remade. It's got nicer graphics for the Switch. It's got some extra bonus content, but the bulk of this game is a game from 2012.
Yeah, I accept that. I guess the thing is that it's not an identical game. They have changed some things. And so I don't think it's an old game is an excuse for outdated views on things, personally. But I don't know why. I don't know why I'm making it out to sound like you're defending it, because I don't think you are.
No, because I know a lot of people have mentioned this, and I think my perspective is that I agree. It's crappy. I just don't feel as up in arms as a lot of people seem to be. I think also because I've played this game before and I expected it.
Yeah.
And also secretly, my true secret is that I literally expect this with every game because this is just the default of how things go. I mean, we can pretend it's not, but like it kind of is. You know what I mean? No,
you're definitely right, and I'm not trying to minify any of the other games that do this similar sort of thing. I don't know why it just came across more shocking to me.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it was a really just kind of grating way to start. And
yeah, I feel
I don't want to go into too much just now because we've got our episode coming up on it, and I think I'll have a lot to say. So
you will save it for the big Rune Factory episode.
Yes.
My one question so far is I'm gonna ask you two questions. How far are you? And you can literally answer this by telling me how many times you've seen the credits roll.
0.
Okay, perfect. I know exactly how far you are.
Wow, how quickly do you get the credits?
I think I don't remember where I talked about this, but remember last time we talked about this and I was like, the story comes in 3 arcs and you're gonna think it ends, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
So you think it ends so hardcore that the credits roll. And let me tell you, I hit those credits on like day 12 of spring of year 1.
Oh my.
Because, I mean, also minding that I have played this game before and I know what I'm doing. And I was just like, wow, if I got this far into the game and hit this and thought this was the end, I would be so disappointed. But it's not. Keep playing.
I'm sure I will get more into the game, but and it could just be I always have this issue with new games of this style that it takes me ages to actually get into them. But at this point, I'm quite glad I bought it physically.
My other question is, who's your favorite character so far?
This would involve me actually remembering names.
If you can just remember vague details, I can probably name them for you.
I've such a bad memory of these things, and I don't think I'm far enough in to have properly formed opinions on many people.
I did say this far. So far.
Okay. Well, if you're going to play that game, Lady Ventuswell then.
Okay, that's a good choice. Ventuswell is my favorite, so that's all I got.
Yeah.
You're free. You're free from this nightmare of...
You know how we were talking about how it maps to the Animal Crossing New Leaf story?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's literally exactly the same. Right? Except that in this game, you protest a little bit more. That's it.
That's not entirely true.
You do. You're like, I might not be the prince.
At least the prince actually shows up.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. We gotta move on before I start saying everything.
There will be a whole episode where we can talk about literally everything.
Oh yes. Yeah. I've got a lot to do before then. I was also playing some Littlewood to catch up with all the new stuff before the interview as well. So that's what I've been playing. So, shall we talk about some news?
Of course, I love the news.
So, in keeping with our topic for the episode, have you seen there have been 2 Littlewood updates since our last recording?
Mm-hmm.
No, they're
Lots
not.
of new
They're not since our last episode came out, because one of them released the day after we recorded.
I mean, the listeners know at this point. It's fine.
Yeah.
It is the way of the news.
We mentioned that there was an update coming out which added in the romance options into Littlewood. That is now out, 0.91, and that, as I say, includes all the romance, most of the romance, and there's also an end credits added in now, and a bunch of other small fixes and some other new small features as well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any time to play that yet, but hopefully soon.
Soon.
And then
It's getting so close.
It is. The number just keeps getting bigger. And 0.915, which I'm really sad this didn't come out before our interview, because what is that version number, Sean? Come on.
It's like 0.91.5,
Yeah,
but without the second point.
Yeah, but where were 0.1 and 0.2 and 0.3 and 0.4? Come on.
It's 0.91 part B.
It's dreadful is what it is.
It's fine.
Anyway, I have many opinions on versioning of software. So that includes the missing romance options for Max and Iris, which were not included in, and a bunch of bug fixes as well.
I would say go play it, but it's so close to coming out that, I don't know, it's up to you if you want to play or you want to wait.
Ooh, I think at this point, if I hadn't started playing it, I'd probably wait for version 1. We're so close.
Very close.
Speaking of updates, we got some news on the future of Forager. So one of the things I really like about how Forager is being run is they're very open with how things are going. And Hopfrog likes to do occasional frequently asked questions on it. And they've confirmed that the multiplayer is planning to come out this year, which is very exciting. It'll be interesting to see how that works. And that the console updates are definitely coming. Just, you know what console ports are like. And they will probably all drop at the same time. So if you're a Forager fan, that's some news for you. Also, Hopfrog has talked about the future after the multiplayer updates come out. So they do want to keep working on Forager as long as people want new updates and have new interesting ideas. However, they also have some interesting ideas for other future games, or possibly they might end up being game modes in Forager. They might just tie in a different way. So they are a colony simulator, a city builder, and a roguelike, all based on Forager. Interesting.
Lots of potentially fascinating things coming out. Sometime in the undefined future.
Yes. Always is the case. But that's fine, because undefined means no pressure and hopefully better games. Rochelle, do you remember Chuck and Bull?
I do, actually. Do you?
I do. A while ago, Chuck and Bull released a pre-alfalfa demo. Yes, I did say alfalfa. That is what it was called, not alpha. And
sounds like something I'd say.
It does a bit, doesn't it? They have also announced that there'll be a new demo coming in April. So if you want to get in on that, you can go to their website, which will be in the show notes, and sign up to their mailing list.
Yeah. Awesome and exciting.
Yeah. And for those who haven't seen it, Chuck and Bull is kind of like a cross between a Stardew style farming game and a farming simulator style farming game, where it's meant to be more agricultural, where you've actually got tractors and these big machinery, but it's still in a cartoony 2D type game rather than your hyper realistic game.
And Village Monsters?
Village Monsters, new update coming out soon on the 12th of March.
I think that's all we know.
That's all we know at this point. But that's 2 days from this recording. It will already be out by the time this comes.
So maybe we'll know more then, and we can cover it on the next podcast.
Yeah.
Our way.
Is that you saying we shouldn't have put it in this bit?
No, that was just me making a joke about how we always get the news late.
That's okay. It's fine. I will retweet it on the Twitter as well. Speaking of games that are coming out, no, that didn't really work very well. Speaking of games,
Perfect.
Staxel, our favorite Minecraft style farming game, they have announced their plans for this year, and they are going to be completely rewriting the game. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that will take a while.
For sure. And to be clear, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, this isn't like we're going to rewrite the story and the dialogue. This is like we're going to rewrite all of the game.
Yeah. So
Right.
it's probable that, you know, stuff like the dialogue and the models probably won't have to change. It depends how they do it. They're rewriting the game engine itself. This is apparently to make it easier to get ready for a console release. Because obviously porting things over takes time and it's harder to port certain things over. So they've obviously realized that it's easier for them in this particular instance to rewrite it with the knowledge that they now have rather than trying to port something that is less than ideal. So yeah, that's going to take a while. Don't expect that this year.
Nope, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Speaking of things not necessarily to expect this year, we have
a good one.
Confirmation that Stardew 1.5 will happen at some point, and that is all we have. And I feel like we had this exact same news update about a year ago, but 1.4.
Sounds about right. Just falling in line with some yearly traditions. Yearly Stardew episode. Yearly, eventually there will be an update warning. I'm fine with this. I think this is good.
I'm certainly fine with this, especially as Concerned Ape has said that there won't be any paid DLC for the game. It's all going to be continue. If there are any more updates after this one, it will only be free updates. So obviously they have ideas of what they want to do, and I am not going to complain about new features in the game because it's not like they add in half-baked things. Like everything that we talked about in the 1.4 update was good and, you know, felt like it just added to the experience.
And I'm sure this one will too. And so I will wait patiently. This is my way.
Speaking of things waiting patiently for, Rochelle, we have an update about your favourite game.
Oh my gosh. Woman in Science is coming out on March 16th.
Oh yeah. I just want to know why they couldn't have done it a week earlier and released it on International Women's Day.
Because it's men in science, not women in science.
Did nobody notice that, or was there really something that stopped it happening? It's so frustratingly close.
It's very close, but you know, that's par for the course. So
well, maybe that says something about it.
I'm not going to knock them, but I'm not going to give them extra credit points either. So, but yeah, I actually secretly might get this game and play it. So
I look forward to hearing what it's like.
I'm secretly really interested in playing this game. I'll let you know, but not until at least March 16th.
Yeah.
So.
Which is in 1 week from now and 2 days ago if you're listening to the podcast on release day. Go buy it. It is $13.99 and whatever the equivalent will be at that point in a week's time because everything is crashing. Who knows?
Well, the world is ending, so might as well get on it.
It'll either be very cheap or very expensive for everyone else. Right.
Is that it?
That's all the news. You make it sound like there's not very much. Is that it? Is that all the news?
Oh man, I could keep going with news for another hour.
Well, let me see if we've got any more. No.
Well, then I guess that's it. That's all, folks. That's it. That's the end of the episode. Tune in next time for
No, now we have the exciting bit because we had a very good interview with Sean. I shouldn't say good because that implies that we did a good thing. We had a very interesting interview with Sean from Littlewood, and we're gonna slice this in a nice and subtle way, in the way that we always do these things.
Extremely subtle. You won't even notice it's happening. We're telling you now because you couldn't possibly notice without us letting you know.
So enjoy the interview.
Ooh.
Okay, we are here now with Sean, creator of Littlewood. Sean, would you like to introduce yourself and
Sure.
including giving us your pronouns so we can correctly
Uh,
refer to you?
yeah, my name's Sean Young, and I've been creating games for 7 years now, and I'm the developer of Littlewood, which is currently on Steam and coming to the Switch. You can just call me he. That's fine. And yeah, so I've been working on Littlewood for 2.5 years now, I think, and yeah, it's my passion project.
Cool. Yeah, so we've obviously talked about Littlewood quite a bit on our podcast. I think we both enjoy it very much, so we're very excited to have you here with us.
Agreed.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I'm very excited. I have had on this podcast, we have each of us kind of has games we're really, really following, and this is one of mine, and I'm really excited. uh, so we got some fun interview questions today. We're gonna start, if that's okay, maybe with a little bit about you. I'm curious, what kind of games are you into? Are farming kind of chill life sim games more your jam, or is this a weird departure from what you would normally play that you're making? Or
I definitely would say that this is a weird departure for me. Probably my favorite game is Monster Hunter World on PlayStation 4. I have over 300 hours on that. But yeah, typically I'm relatively new to the genre, to the whole Stardew and Animal Crossing and more casual, peaceful type games. And I actually started playing Animal Crossing New Leaf in a time where I kind of wanted to escape the real world. I had launched a mobile game and it didn't do so well. So I was just like, oh man, I need not a hard game. I need something that's easy and that can help me relax. And I was so inspired by Animal Crossing. I was like, man, I got to try to make a game like this. How is this fun? I'm picking weeds. I'm doing menial tasks, but it's soothing, and that's really what drove me to experiment with the genre and create Littlewood.
I love that. That's such a good little story. Animal Crossing, in my humble opinion, is the ultimate fantasy game where it's you can just live your life and nothing is stressful. And
it's really interesting because it's not like most games where it really convinces you that this is important, or this thing for this townsfolk is or whoever's staying in your town is really important, and what you're doing is worth your time. And I don't know, I just thought it was really interesting and I wanted to explore that.
I love that. Al, are you convinced to play Animal Crossing yet?
I don't know why you have to keep trying. I've already said I'm going to buy it and play it.
Oh yeah, the new one I'm getting day one.
Yes.
The story behind this, Sean, is that I tried Animal Crossing New Leaf and I did not get into it at all. But I didn't really try it very hard, and I think part of the issue was that I was playing it on 3DS when, the Switch had become my kind of go-to console. So it's one of those things that I just never really got into. So Rochelle has been trying to convince me to get the new game, and so I have agreed to get it. We'll see if I get into this one more than New Leaf.
Yeah, I mean, the new one just looks like it's improving on every aspect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was depressed. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I was both happy and sad when I saw the trailer because I don't know. I just kept comparing my game to Animal Crossing, which I know is unfair because it's a huge company or whatever. But their museum is just so gorgeous and so interactive, and they have all these other features. I'm like, man, I got to step it up.
Don't sell yourself short. I actually really okay, we'll get there. But
So before we get there, though, would you like to talk us through? So you work full time on Littlewood, that's correct? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So would you like to talk us through what an average day of your work is like?
Sure.
Obviously, knowing that there probably is no average day, but
yeah. So I work from home. I have an office here in my house. my wife wakes up early in the morning and she leaves. She has a real job. She's a doctor, and I roll out of bed around like 11 or 12. It varies. I'm trying to correct my schedule a little bit better, but yeah, I roll out of bed, come to my office, and I basically just work for. I try to get at least 6 hours a day. That varies too. But yeah, I just work from home, and I've been doing this for about 7 years, and yeah, I try to get out and walk my dogs and get some exercise in between, but most of the time it's just me in my room, just programming away or doing art.
Man, I wish I could live that kind of life.
Well, it might drive you crazy. It's got its own challenges.
Do you tend to have do you tend to focus like one specific day on implementing some feature in the game or doing some art or kind of going through trying to fix a bunch of bugs? Like, do you compartmentalize those days, or do you kind of have a little bit of each in the day to make it more interesting?
Yeah, I don't think I'm that organized, so I kind of I sit down. I first thing I do every day usually is to check the Steam reviews, check bug reports, and any high priority stuff there. That's pretty much going to dictate what I do for that day. But yeah, I just have like a little checklist of things I have to do, and whatever I'm feeling, I'll just pick away at whatever, whether it be bug fixing or writing code for a certain feature or just doing art. But I wish I was a little more organized in that okay, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is art, where the other is programming. But no, it's more just at the start of the day, it's whatever I think needs working on. That's what I do.
I mean, that makes sense to me, at least. Like, it's this kind of like huge task that has so many angles. Like, I'm sure there are some people out there who could be like, well, I organized it neatly. I'm making fun of myself. I'm like, I make neat organized lists, except really I'm just like, more like I make neat organized checklists, and eventually I get to everything.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it is everything has to get done eventually. So as long as I'm chipping away at the mountain, it'll happen. It'll get done.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that. I don't know about Al. I'm kind of like obsessed. Like, I'm really, really interested in like this sort of like day-to-day process of like, what is developing a game actually like? So like, I'm intent on like asking people about this. I'm going to figure it out. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's the best job in the world. I mean, it's super fulfilling. It can be very stressful, Obviously you can spend a year of your life and launch a game and it doesn't do so well. And there's also the it took me 3 years to realize that negative reviews on Steam, I can't take it personal. You have to learn from them. You have to sift through like the trolls and stuff, and also the constructive criticism, because that's how the game gets better. Your game's not going to get better if with only positive reviews and only without anything critical to say. So that took me a long time to realize, and now I'm super thankful. Like with the Littlewood community, we have like this great repertoire, if you will, where they they give me all the suggestions and bug reports, and I take them, and I've learned to really I don't know. It's a really fulfilling job, and I wouldn't trade for anything.
Sorry, I'm just like smiling. That's so sweet. I love that. A+. It's very good. So we've touched on this a little bit here and there, but you're developing a game called Littlewood.
Yep.
Would you like to we've talked about it a number of times on the podcast because, again, this is like one of my little pet projects I'm following. But would you like to give like your elevator pitch for our listeners, just in case, I don't know, maybe this is somebody's first episode or something?
Sure. Littlewood is a peaceful RPG where you've already saved the world. And you're the hero who, gets to sit back and relax and form relationships with the townsfolk and basically do whatever you want.
Perfect. So I guess to start, like, do you have any like particular influences? I mean, you talked earlier about Animal Crossing, but like any particular influences on like how you're developing the game, be that through like the art style or like the different mechanics of the game?
Yeah, at first glance, I think most people can see that the art was influenced by the Game Boy Advance era Pokemon games. I was really going for that.
Yep.
Yeah, that really just tight, small pixel art style. I really like, and so that was a big influence for the art style. And obviously, the gameplay is influenced by Animal Crossing, but also Dark Cloud. I don't know if you guys played it for PS2, but it had a lot of really cool town building mechanics where the people in your town would request, oh, I want my house to be here, or I want this in my house. And so that's a huge part of Littlewood, and that was a really big influence. Also, old school RuneScape has a nice place in my heart because I don't know, I spent hours on that as a kid, and I just think I feel like grinding in video games gets a bad rap. I think grinding can be like presented in a right way to the player, where it's very satisfying and very relaxing too. So I don't know. I found that really interesting. So I wanted to incorporate some elements of RuneScape into Littlewood in terms of the different hobbies and having rewards for as you grind up to level 99.
I love that. I'm always secretly super excited when people talk about RuneScape because I was my secret backstory is that I was super, super into RuneScape as a kid. So
Oh yeah, it was the
I
best.
definitely see that.
It's still really
But I
popular today, the old school one.
Yeah. Man, I gotta get back. I don't know if I have time to get back. on the
Yeah,
RuneScape
careful.
train.
You don't want to open that can of worms.
Yeah.
I can't play it now.
Maybe-
Like I'll just pour too many hours into it.
Yeah. Just like, I don't know, especially with Animal Crossing coming up because that's the same kind of void to fall into, and I'm definitely probably going to fall into it. So,
You got to finish Rune Factory 4 first.
oh my, challenge accepted. Look, I'm really into it.
I've never
Real
played a
far
Rune
into it.
Factory or a Harvest Moon.
Well,
Mike?
we know of a podcast that might be of use to you then if you want to learn about them.
Might be worth playing sometime. I think Rune Factory has this sort of like it's half the sort of relaxingness of an Animal Crossing game and half like very much like traditional JRPG kind of like I'm gonna go into the dungeon and fight some monsters kind of a thing.
Okay.
But if you're really into Animal Crossing, you might try like definitely try one of the newer Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons games. They have that same sort of like really chill, really calm, just doing the repetitive daily tasks in a way that's very soothing sort of feel to them. So if you're into Animal Crossing, you might be into that.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. With Animal Crossing coming out, that's all my time's going to go to that. And also, I'm a big fan of JRPGs, so when Final Fantasy the remake comes out, I'm going to be playing that too.
Mm-hmm. Got to get everything in there. It's hard. There's lots of games.
The problem is that so many of the games are so similar as well, but I still love to play all the different similar games. Anyway, we are here to talk about Littlewood, so so in developing Littlewood, what would you say your biggest challenge has been? Something that's kind of really been difficult, but you've been really satisfied to finish and get over that hump?
Well, I don't want to say it's been easy because it certainly hasn't, but I feel like in terms of programming and art style, none of it's really just time. There hasn't been anything that's super challenging. And honestly, I think the most challenging thing for me with this game was actually proving something to the community, because I don't know if you know, but I have a few other games on Steam. My first Steam game was called Magicite, and my second was Roguelands. And those were actually multiplayer games, and they're quite buggy still to this day. And so, I don't know, I kind of earned the reputation of starting a game and not being able to finish it. So when I sat down and started to design Littlewood, I'm like, you know what, I haven't really gave a single player game my all, and to prove to the community that I can finish a game. So that to me has been and is still my biggest challenge right now. I mean, I'm not feeling any type of burnout, and I love working on the game. I just want to make sure I can prove that I can finish I can finish the game and not give up as I did with my other buggy multiplayer games.
I mean, I think that's a very good, like, this is the challenge, because I don't know, it's really easy to say, like, oh, well, obviously the coding part is hard or whatever, but, like, sometimes the hard parts are, like, dealing with other people and things coming from outside of the sort of sphere of development. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy because I don't know how it is with other teams. I guess it's easier if you have like a team, but being a solo developer, it's pretty challenging sometimes to stay motivated and stay to not get discouraged. But yeah, in terms of like the technical aspect, this game has been way easier than any of like the online multiplayer games that I was making before.
Having touched a bit of that sort of stuff, I would never want to actually make a game with online multiplayer. It's a hellscape.
It's really crazy because it's so hard to test. Like people would report bugs saying like, yeah, I can't connect or I get this bug. And then on my end, I can connect fine. It's like I have no idea how to help you.
So one of the things that is probably quite obvious when you get into the game is there's obviously large, well, not large anymore, that you've got rid of most of them. There are some sections of the game that you go to and it says this isn't implemented yet. Mm-hmm. Did you put them in like that to push yourself to be like, no, I am going to get this done, rather than, I guess, if you kind of leave it out, you can kind of just go, well, I just won't do that bit of the game? Or was it just a technical thing that you did that?
Probably a mixture of both. There's definitely once I put that in the game, it's basically a promise. Like this is to come. You can expect this, and in a way that makes sure that I don't forget about that feature or I don't cut it out. But very very often, I'll in order to make one feature, I have to implement like a little piece of other features that lead up to it. Yeah. So there was a lot of that. Like the town events. I wanted to build the whole framework, and in order to do that, I had to have a bunch of empty town events just so I can call them and just to have that placeholder there, and to also let the player know that this is what you can expect for the future. And
I'm curious. So like you said that most of it's pretty easy. Is there like one particular thing in like developing this game where you're just like, this is the easiest thing, I could do this with my hands tied behind my back? Like, I'm not even concerned about it.
I want to say I'm pretty quick with the art, but also there's times where I can spend an hour on like a portrait or a building, and then I just don't like it and I scrap it, and then I gotta start over. But also I totally forgot. This is something that wasn't in any of my other past games, and it's the dialogue. And I totally forgot that that's actually the most challenging thing in this game, because the player doesn't have anything to say, right? And so especially with the last update I made, with the dating and the marriage and stuff, I had to carry whole conversations, whole dates with just the townsfolk talking. So Willow had to sit there and be like, oh, you want to go on a date? And then she had to carry, the whole conversation. And that was really challenging for me to have it make sense and to also be interesting. So dialogue is I can't believe I forgot about that. That's been a really big challenge for me.
As someone who's really into writing, that makes a lot of sense, because like, especially when you're writing like interactions between two different characters, like it's so much easier to say like, oh, well, this is how this conversation would go between two people in the real world, so we'll kind of model it after that. But like, when you don't have one person participating in that, essentially, like, it's an entirely different form of writing.
It's really tricky.
It's like, that's a really good answer. So, is there anything in particular, like, is there any aspect of the game that like you are the most possible excited for? Like, what about this game is the thing where you're like, oh, I just want every game I play to be like this?
Well, I'm certainly proud of that you can customize your whole town. I think I think that's something that I'm bringing that's new to this kind of genre. You have complete freedom over where you place your buildings, and you can edit the terrain and stuff. So I'm super proud of that, and I definitely enjoy customizing options. I don't know. I guess yeah, I'm really proud of that, and also the romancing features I think is really cool. I'd like to see more of that in games that I play.
Yeah, I just started up my game again after the romance option, and so I think there's a lot of because I'm at least a year into the game now, and I think there's a lot of levels of friendship that I kind of got through with people now. So that basically every day I've got a cutscene at the beginning of each day, which is quite funny going through them all one day after another.
Oh yeah,
I think there's a whole bunch of stuff built up, which probably wouldn't happen if I restarted a game. But I think I'm trying not to restart a game until the Switch version comes out. I'm trying to keep going with the one save file on PC.
No, that's a good time to start over when we hit 1.0 and everything's in there. I think that's a really good time to start over.
Yeah, but yeah, the romance is cool.
Agreed. And I'll ask a question because I'm very much the person who the thing that really hooks me into games is usually like the characters and the story. So like romance stuff is usually really fun because I'm like, that's when you really get to know the characters.
Yeah.
So my question is, do you have a favorite character of all the characters in Littlewood?
Oh man, I'd say I don't know if I have a favorite, but I'd say I don't know because I want to say Zaina, but I also want to say Lilith, and then I can't not include Bubsy. I don't know.
I'll allow you to have a top 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, interestingly, is the same as my top 3, so I'll give you that definitely for sure.
I think those are the 3 most popular characters. I mean, a lot of people seem to like Ash too, but yeah, those seem to be like the top tier.
One thing that I'm always interested about is the bits that are in the game that aren't finished. And I originally wrote this question a while ago before you added in the blocks on the road. But essentially, my question was, we're going to be able to use that road, right? At some point, that's going to be used for something. It's not just going to be sitting there taunting me forever, is it?
Al has been obsessing over this forever.
Literally since I started playing the game, I was like, "What's the road for?"
Well, did you see my tweet a while back about
I did, yeah.
that adventure thing? Okay, so that feature is. I'm planning something with that road. When I tweeted that out, I kind of wanted to test the waters and see what people thought, and it turns out a lot of people were really interested in something like that. Because none of this is 100% confirmed, but my idea was, how in Littlewood you have levels in all your hobbies. Yeah. Well, I was thinking that each of the townsfolk could have their own levels in all of the hobbies as well. And so when you're hanging out with them, say you want to go mining with Ash, as you're mining, Ash is also gaining mining levels. Or if you're chopping wood with Dalton, he's also getting wood cutting levels. And so what these levels would do is I would almost create a battle system, but it's not a battle system. And so you form a party of 3 townsfolk, and you go to the bottom of your map there, and you send them out, and they basically go out to the world to fix parts of the world, but they use those hobby levels that you leveled them up in. And so it'll be like, oh, we have to go repair this castle over there, and so you send out these 3 people, and it's like, oh, we need high someone needs to have high mining, and someone needs to have high crafting. And so I don't know, that's a huge feature that it really would add another dimension to the game, and it would change it a lot. So I'm still messing around with it. I'm trying to think of if there's any negative ramifications that would happen from doing something like that, but I think it would really add another dimension to having everybody have their own hobby levels and being able to send them out and kind of see this cool little cutscene of them repairing something and using their levels. And I don't know, I think it would be cool. But yeah, super rough concept. I definitely want to have something at the bottom there where you kind of send them out to do something.
I love that idea. That's a really cool
I
idea.
think that sounds super cool.
Wouldn't it be cool, right? Like, because it could be framed in a way that it's kind of like a battle system where it's just checking, your skills, right? And so it could be, but since we're using this whole spectrum of hobbies, it can be really cool stuff like, not just repairing a castle, but we have to go help these people farm stuff. So you want to send 3 people that have high farming levels, and I don't know. And there can also be items that you equip them with, and it's just my mind. I could talk about this forever. But.
I feel like you're creating a whole other game with this feature.
Yep.
No, but
No, not in a bad way. Just
no. What I was gonna say was that it makes a lot of sense. Like, I think that would actually fit into what you have now really nicely, because what that partially does is really encourages people to always have someone going with you. So if you're like, oh, I just realized that I can have my villagers go out to help people farm. Maybe every time I farm, I want to actually like have someone going along with me, so that now you're invested in helping the other characters up their skills, and so you're invested in spending more time with the characters, and that kind of like leads into other aspects of the game.
Exactly.
On its own, I love that idea.
Yeah, that's kind of my policy when adding features. Is I want to make sure whenever I add a feature, it doesn't feel out of place, and that it can actually complement other features of the game. So, it's just scary because it is such a big like thing. So, it's still in the works, and I do want to add it. And I've been playing a lot of Pokemon, so I also want to add creature collecting. I think eventually it's just going to get to the point where I'm never going to make a new game. It's just going to be like, I have a cool game idea. I'll just add it to Littlewood.
I, for one, would not complain about that.
Well, I just saw that the Stardew developer, he tweeted out, it's been 4 years since the game came out.
Yeah.
And everybody was super happy, and he's been updating it for 4 years for free, and
let me tell you, most people own that game multiple times, and that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, I always told myself, when I first started making games, when I launched Magicite, I was like, this is it. This is the game that I'm just gonna update forever, and I'm never gonna make another game. And I don't know. I haven't truly felt that way until with Littlewood. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've matured as a developer, but I just really like this world that I built, and I really want to keep adding things. And I don't know. I just want to make it the best game ever.
I love that. When the inspiration strikes, you have to follow, right? So. Yeah. Was there anything in particular that we didn't cover that you really wanted to talk about? What would you really like our listeners to know? Just anything. Free platform.
That Littlewood is coming to the Switch, and it's gonna be awesome.
Woo!
I have a dev kit here, and I'm so confused as to what to do. I actually got it running on the Switch. It looks great. It plays great. There's some couple long load times that I have to fix, but. Yeah, I think it's really I think playing on the Switch is gonna be the best way to enjoy the game.
I can't tell you how excited I am to get it on the Switch, because long-time listeners will know that I'm not a huge fan of playing things on the PC. It's just because I have to get out my computer and I have to either go to my desk and play it there, or sit it on my lap and it's not fun. The Switch is just the perfect for me the perfect console, the perfect way to play games. So I was so excited when you announced that it was coming to Switch, and just I think I'll probably triple my play hours when I'm playing it on the Switch than the PC.
Yeah, I think Nintendo really knocked it out of the park with this console, and I think it shows with their sales. It allows so many, you can play on the couch with the big TV, or you can be like me and sit in the bathtub and play,
Ooh, that sounds dangerous.
Play whatever game you want. Yeah, it is.
I mean, I agree. I'm just honestly, an ideal day to me sounds like making a cup of tea and curling myself up in a blanket because it's still winter here, and just playing Littlewood on my Switch. That sounds ideal. I'm very excited to be able to do that. So
I'm excited to bring it to Switch.
That's an Al question. Do you want to ask that question?
Well, I feel like we might have. I think we may have already covered it, but we're done with it. Okay, right, that's fine.
Okay.
So,
lots of
well,
question
let's just go with asking it anyway, even though we think we might have be done with it, just because you never know what will happen, and if nothing comes of it, we can just delete it. So one thing that we like to ask people is whether there's any secrets coming that you can share with us. Obviously, you've talked about the road and your possible plans for that. Is there anything else you want to share with us? No is an acceptable answer to this question.
Well, I'd say that giant feature we talked about before is probably the biggest secret. I mean, there's a bunch of other little things I have planned, but there's a beauty salon coming. I tweeted about that. A lot of people want more character customization options, and a lot of people want to be able to pick out a tuxedo or a dress on their wedding day. So I want to make the dresser actually interactable, and I want to give the player the option to unlock different outfits and stuff, different hairstyles and things. So one of Bubsy's gifts when you fulfill his requests is a beauty salon.
I love that.
That's exciting.
You heard it here first. Probably not, but
I think you posted a teaser about that on Twitter, but
yeah, I haven't actually
confirmation here.
Confirmed. Yeah.
You heard it confirmed here for okay, I gotta give up on this one. Sorry.
Well, Sean, thank you very much for joining us. It's been good fun to talk to you and get to know more about you and your game. We both very much enjoy playing your game, and I, for one, am really looking forward to the rest of the updates and eventually getting it on Switch. So
Thanks. Yeah, it was a pleasure to be here, and I have a lot planned for the game, and I can't wait to get it out.
I'm so excited, and we will keep our listeners updated the whole time. So.
So that was the interview. I hope you enjoyed that interview. We certainly enjoyed doing it, although I think we probably said that at the end of the interview, so I've probably said that now twice in very short succession. It's really weird doing a podcast like this where you do different sections at different times.
Mm-hmm. It's very disjointing.
If you have feedback on the interview, you can tweet at us at THSPod on Twitter, or you can email us on our website, harvestseason.club. If you want to talk to me about the dreadful introduction to Rune Factory 4S, you can do so on Twitter at the ScottBot.
If you want to talk about Alola, please, I am begging you to tweet at me at Miss Delaney with 2 L's. And until next time.
And until next time, have a good harvest.
Ooh.
The Harvest Season is created by Rochelle Delaney and Al McKinley. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, theharvestseason.club, for show notes, including links to things we discussed and transcripts for every episode. Thanks for listening.
Or you can email it to...
Please say email at us, because that is 100% something Rochelle would say. Or you can email at us at the website, harvestseason.club.
I'm going to put that in the blooper. How does that sound?
Okay.